What down, family? It's your boy Sntv back at y'all with another segment. So, you are now tuned into the first episode of Voices from the Street, in which I will be giving you a more better insight on the everyday activity, the streets, from the positives to the negatives when it comes to Chirac. This is a lot of powerful information that I will be displaying. You can't get this nowhere else. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I had a chance to sit down with Dr. Abdullah Pratt of Chicago University, and he gave us a better insight on the other side of the ER. He's worked in trauma, so he's been there when guys come in shot. A lot of times he has to be the one that saves their life. And he's actually from the hood, and he's actually a community activist. He's very much involved in the hood. So we need this information to get out. Like I said, hit that like button, hit that share button, and make sure that you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Let's get it. What's good, family? It's your boy Sntv, man. And today I got a special guest on the Sntv platform, man. Doc, go ahead and tell the people what's your name, where you from.
My name is Dr.Pratt. Most people just know me as Steve. I'm from right off 87th, Stony, and a little bit over east. Spent a lot of time on 63rd as well, growing up, right off 61st and Cottage to Stony. But more or less, I'm an emergency room doctor. I also specialize in trauma, so that means that I see everything that may walk in the University of Chicago's emergency department, from somebody who shot, stabbed, car accidents, all the way to heart attacks, strokes, down to babies being born, all the way to now we got the COVID virus. So, we dealing with that pandemic, but no matter what we dealing with, as the killings don't stop. And so all of the losses of life that I'm primarily dealing with are Black. They look like me. All my loved ones, people that I know, love, care about, that I then came up with through the years who passed right here on the south side or the southeast side. And so that really drove me to wanting to figure out, what can I do? I love science. I love helping people, but I was really born off the block. So it was a lot of the guys from over east and, on the south side that really pushed me, that said, hey, bro, get from up off the corner. You a sports star and you smart. We need you to go be something different so you can hold it down for us, for auntie, for grandma and whatnot. And so that really drove me to want to be a doctor. And then my older brother, back in 2012, when it was really hot, man, that real hot summer, he was took due to gun violence. And so that really drove me to really want to focus more on trauma and what we can do to really stop the killings out here. But nevertheless, I try not to judge nobody. I got guys that done it all, locked up, all the way to dead, that were shooters, whatnot. So I never judge. And I think that helps me do what I do in the hospital. But more importantly, it helps me do what I do outside the hospital, which is trying to implement programs in these high schools on the south side to help people deal with the gun violence, or to help people deal with a cardiac arrest doing CPR. Even in the community gardens that we work with in Inglewood, we host a lot of those same kind of sessions, not just for the typical older middle-aged folks, but really for you and I, for the guys off the block, for the GDs, BDs, Stones, folk on the hustlers, MCs, all of that. We really just try to help equip people with what they need to solve the problems that's in front of them. Because like we're going to get into, help ain't always going to pop up for us as fast as you'd like it to be. It ain't the movies. And sometimes you will be left there stranded if you don't really know how to operate and how to help maybe your man or your girl who may have been shot, and she wasn't the intended target.
First and foremost, I want to just say, thank you. You out there on the front lines, man, and it's crazy because we don't have a lot of examples in the Black community. From that side, all of our examples come from, the street side. And we don't, not often do you hear about people not getting involved in the streets, or somebody pulling them aside and saying, you know what, son, no, you good. Don't even get involved in that. Go do this. And then, be able to, actually live that out and exemplify that and put that in use. And to the point to where you can go back and say, damn, this was my guy, this was one of my older guys, and now that I look back on him, man, he's really like saved my life. That's kind of incredible because a lot of people don't get to tell their story. You out there every day on the front lines, you know what I'm saying? And you seeing all type of shit. How do you cope with that? Like, how do you get to a point to where it's just like you could just be able to deal with that on a daily basis?
And then those who understood how to become a doctor, all of which, were able to guide me through that process and use the raw passion and the pain that I've been through for something better. And I feel like so many of the guys don't have that. You doing that. So I could easily just salute you just as much because you've seen, just as much, if not more, than I've seen growing up to get you to this point. But that answers the question that you raised as well, is that when you talk about coping, the things that I see on a daily basis, you know how it is, bro. We think that growing up. So I seen guys laid out. I seen people ODing on that dope. I seen, the hands go wrong. I saw the bad car accidents. I grew up on Stony. So every Saturday night, you seen a bad motorcycle accident, people cut in half and body parts everywhere, and so that really prepared me at a time where I probably wasn't ready to be prepared. And so the same things I used to cope back then, I cope now. So I played sports back in the day. Now I'm a sports team doctor for Phillips High School, the first Black public league team to ever win state. I also do a lot of ringside medicine with boxing, trying to use those sports as a way to help other cats overcome it. So the same things that I was doing when I was a young homie, I'm able to kind of give back now and still be that big brother figure. And they could look at me and say, "Oh, you've been there. You when you say I understand, you really do. You was right there. You had the same choices that I have to make in terms of being successful or not." But furthermore, is really trying to address that pain. So the same way, say if somebody was scared of spiders and they had arachnophobia or something like that, the best therapy for that person is what they call exposure therapy. So that means throw you basically in a pit of spiders until you overcome that. And I think that that's the same kind of thing that I undergo when it comes to the violence. I'm able to still stay in the street. I still live in the hood, and I'm able to really see it on an everyday basis, which then when I'm in the field and I'm in the ER or the trauma base or something like that, my training can carry me through, even with something that's very traumatic, because I've been there, I've seen that. That was my family, that was my guys laid out at one point. And so I think that that's how you really cope, is by addressing the thing that's causing you that anxiety. But it's still heavy, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's still days that I leave that joint and I need to take, I walk every day. So I put in like 2 miles one way, 2 miles the other way to get back and forth to the ER. And I need that walk. You feel me? Not just for exercise, I'm a big dude, but also because that's when I get to clear my mind. That's when I get to, process what I just saw that day, whether that's young shorties being killed, young ladies being killed who may not have been a target, or guys that may have been shot in a situation where they shouldn't have been shot. And you kind of understand, you see it on Facebook at the time. Like we get cats in the ER, and sometimes our violence recovery specialists who were supposed to like dig up who from what block, who from there to keep people safe and to be able to help them recover in the future, they'd be like, "Hey, yo, doc, man, this your boy Facebook right here, man. This was popping off. It was, he was on live, and then some cats rolled up on him. This was 15 minutes ago." So, sometimes that same thing, I'm able to kind of connect, bring it 360, and then help process it. But it's like I said, it's still a difficult thing, bro.
That's a lot, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'ma always take the time out to show my appreciation, especially for for people like you, man. And not just you, that goes for all essential workers and people that save our lives every day, and we don't even acknowledge it because we don't pay it attention until it comes down to one of us, fighting for our life or something like that, or one of our loved ones, man. So, I definitely, like I said, I definitely commend you for that. For my generation, we was rough. And it was a lot of, killings, a lot of murders and things like that back then, because Chicago has always been Chicago. But you still had the guys to where, like you said, your guy pulled you to the side, like, nah, bro. You still had that. Now you don't got that. You see what I'm saying? But in your opinion, what's the main reason why it's messed up out here like this?
When you look at the streets, the whole culture is built in a one directional, unidirectional motive, meaning that from the time that we are born, especially when you talk about the masses of us that live in the hoods, whether it's Baltimore, Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Gary, when you grow up like that, every incentive that you have to be honest, is to the streets. Every deterrent that you have is away from success by a legal means. Meaning that if you're a young dude and you 6, 7, 8 years old, the things that you see in terms of positivity are only going to be the street. No matter what people tell you, we know that's the truth. We understand that because our doctors, lawyers, professionals are incentivized to leave the hood, right? So everything that they go through, whether it's financial, whether it's structural, and just culturally. So a lot of cats that come from the hood, they may not have as much love for the streets as me. They may not have had the same positive interaction with the streets that make them still want to be there. A lot of them, if you a guy, you might have had your girl took by bro on the block that already had 4 or 5 girls, but he was juking, he was moving his thing. She saw something she liked it, and she got took or something. So I know people like that who be like, man, bro, forget cats. They may have been jumped on the red line every day when they was just trying to get to school and didn't nobody respect they hustle. They may have been an all-A cat, got no love when he graduated college, but seen his homie who was just getting out of prison for running up in somebody's crib, get a whole block party or something like that, right? So you got incentives culturally that say, hey, man, you know what? I'm going to go take care of my family. I'm going to go buy my mama a house, take the best job, live up north, live in the South Loop, whatever the case is. And I'm going to get away from that because all of my painful memories are there socially. Also in the household. So a lot of cats grow up with violence. And we're not talking about video games. We're not talking about, all of that kind of stuff. We talking about getting beat. A lot of cats not just getting spankings, they literally getting physically abused, whether it's by older cousins, whether it's by your parents, mamas, boyfriends. Sometimes a lot of these young dudes is even sexually assaulted, bro. And I see it in the ER, right? So when I'm working in the children's ER, I see young boys coming in, touched on, affected. And you start seeing violent tendencies from that early age. And then you also have a lot of mental health issues where if you was in a white community, you get all kind of diagnoses. If you had violent tendencies, they say that you were oppositional defiant or you had explosive personality disorder, even though you may have nothing bad may have never happened to you. You just violent for whatever reason. That's just how you come out. When you put that in the hood, you got access to guns. You got people that's willing to put the guns in your hand. So you got movers and shakers that may say, hey, little homie, you think you got some squabbles? You think you got some, something on you? Hey, why don't you go handle that for me over there? And we going to treat you good. We going to look over the fact that you might have a little bit of autism. You might be a little bit of developmentally delayed or something like that. And so that's how you get in some of these shooters. That's not all of them. But some of these shooters literally are kids who were undiagnosed with mental health disorders, and then now they got access to guns for it. And I think the last thing, of course, is the obvious one that you're going to see all throughout media that everybody talks is the dead horse that get beat. You got low opportunity. The bad social economics in the community end up leading to low opportunities to actually flip it and do something positive. If you want to be a great scholar, the school systems are really set up socially. So that means that from the time you get in the class, you may be pent up with energy. They're going to give you a whole bunch of sugar for breakfast. You're going to Pop-Tart, Frosted Flakes, and Fun Donuts, whatever for breakfast. You got all this energy. And instead of being able to go release that early on, like young men who are growing with testosterone want to, they put you in a classroom, sit you down for 5 hours and be like, listen to this. And when you act up, instead of somebody exerting discipline on you and saying, listen, I'm respected by you, I need you to do this for this reason, you get people that may just be like your mom at home and your auntie who doesn't understand this young man, and they punish you, get up out of here, you trying to be a class clown. So that whole time, they keep getting shitted on by the system, bro. For all intents and purposes, even somebody like myself who did get through it, I saw it happen with me, so I knew it was happening with my guys in there. And so through that whole period, you seeing the young women getting incentivized to do better while you getting crapped on for just being yourself and not really understanding what's going on. So those opportunities are limited there. When you talk about jobs, it's limited. Bro, I would come home from school every summer as a football player, straight A's, whatever, apply to jobs at Target, factories, McDonald's, whatever, interview well, the whole nine. I could speak well. I knew I came off with a good interview, never get jobs, right? And so I know if that's not happening, if that's happening for me, what's happening for bro and them who might have a misdemeanor on his report, or bro and them who might not have a suit and tie to go to an interview, right? So these opportunities are really limited. And then on top of that, once you finally do get successful in our media, you see nothing but brothers getting scandal after scandal, tore down for this, things that you might be like, man, I might have had some shaky situations myself, and bro getting torn down over that. So there's no room for error for a young black male, whether you're an athlete, whether an entertainer or whatever. So once you group all of that together and you put that in a pot where now somebody killed your guy, right? So now that's the one friend that you might have had growing up, the one dude who you slept at their crib, who mama might have fed you your whole way growing up. Now he get took. So naturally you're gonna want to take the other cat. And I think that's the difference between the violence in this generation and maybe when we grew up. We probably didn't know as many of these personal killings, right? You might have got killed over gang stuff back in our day, but more or less you knew what it was, you knew what you was into it for. And if you got took, you may not have known that person personally who shot you or took your man's out. When now cats is growing up, as you know, as you document very well, a block away from each other, goes to the same high school, within the same homeroom in grammar school. They know each other. Sometimes they family, bro. Sometimes they like second cousins, but for whatever reason, they guys into it with the other guys. Now you end up getting took. And once you kill somebody, then they kill your man. At that point, all the gang stuff is more or less secondary. It's more personal. And it's hard to ever stop that beef because that pain don't stop. And unless somebody come put some money in your hands, give you a way out of it or a way to deal with that pain, as we starting to see with cats like Duck, maybe even Dirk and them, you're starting to see cats who looking at something better, like, man, I'm off that street shit for a little bit because I'm chasing the money, and give them time to mature, right? To get out of that 16, 17, 18, 19 year. By the time cats is 25, 26, 27, that testosterone, their bodies get used to it a little bit. They know how to process it. They got a little bit more wisdom. And then they're not so quick to buck at the first sight of things. So I think that because the violence is younger, the less opportunity, right? And it's being more personal. These little hoods is so concentrated. That's what's making it seem like to us that there's more senseless violence. When back in the 90s, there may have been more murders, but a lot of them was drug related. A lot of them was project related. It was people who knew what it was. It wasn't shorties being shot randomly. It wasn't, babies being hit by cars after somebody do a drill or something like that. It wasn't, just going to the restaurant, cats just getting popped and whoever with them getting popped. So I think that's what kind of leads to it, bro. If you ever seen that show like Dog Whisper or anything like that, where folks be like, hey, this dog just needs, exert more energy. That's the kind of thing, is low hanging fruit. That don't cost no extra money. But the states are defunding those programs. They don't find any value in youth boxing, football, even basketball, karate, martial arts, things that allow people to get that off of them, because it does two things. Not only does it allow you to exert energy, it replaces male role models that are lost in these communities. And oftentimes these martial arts instructors are from the hood. They Muslims or they whatever. They done study some kind of discipline. They went to prison. They understand the streets a little bit better. Number three, it gets rid of this insecurity around cats' hands, right? A lot of times, back in the day, whoever had the best hands, them was the cats who kind of reigned supreme. When now cats don't have no hands. So, what I'm saying? Like bro say, if he box well, I got hot shells. Right, so a lot of cats know that I don't want to take the L of getting knocked out, put on Facebook Live, Instagram, World Star, whatever. So I'm busting first, even though it might be something minor. Where if you put us in the same room, me and fam, we might just box it out. Whoever win, whoever lose. No cameras around. We handle it, walk away, shake hands, and maybe even we come to a common understanding. Right. So when you take that away, putting it back into people and saying, okay, now you know how to defend yourself. The studies show that knowing how to defend yourself makes you less likely to get into a conflict. So you less likely to even talk, which brings me to the biggest point, which is conflict resolution skills. I think that's the main driver behind a lot of the senseless violence that we see. And of course, that's not necessarily as much O Block versus FTL or 051 versus Steve Drive and none of that stuff like that. It's more or less the majority of the killings, because that's the minority. Believe it or not, bro, the minority is we know what gang somebody's from, we know what block they from, and they beefing. The majority of shootings are really more or less conflict resolution. I'm at the bar, I'm at Red Diamond, some cat look at me the wrong way. When he brushed past me at the bar, I don't like the way he looked at me, so I asked him about it. He don't back down. I tell him that I'll bust. If he ain't trying to bust, neither person back down. Now people get shot. Or I'm at the gas station. Hey, fam, don't I know you? I had a cat say that the other day. Hey, don't I know you, man? Hey, bro, I don't know who you know. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I don't know who you is. I ain't got no ill will with you. He was, okay, yeah, you right. You run nothing. I think the photo I was looking for was a little bit darker than you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my guys wouldn't have said that, bro. It would have been like, hey, if you looking for me, I'm who you looking for. I'll be that person. Because a lot of guys feel like I done took so many L's in my life. Today, I'm not taking another L, bro. I'm not taking another back down. I don't have that in me because I done seen so much loss. I done been through so much. I feel like I never had a win. In my mama's house, I got a row full of trophies all around my room. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of awards, a lot of things like that that I can hang my hat on and have pride. A lot of cats ain't got that. They don't know what it feel like to be a winner. They don't know what it feel like to come in first place and put some work in. So for them, every opportunity is an opportunity to try to prove to themselves that they got some value. So that really comes down to conflict resolution, is teaching young brothers and sisters, because you've seen a lot of this with sisters. A lot of this stuff is now starting to be instigated with sisters, and I'm seeing so many of our young women, especially in February. I think we had maybe like 5 or 6 young women shot and killed that came to us by themselves. And we may not have seen that in the whole year before that, whereas young women between 18, 24 shot dead in the chest, shot twice in the head, all kind of point blank, intended target kind of killers. But that conflict resolution has to come where you can say, hey, you know what, bro, it ain't even no big deal, man. I'm supposed to be picking up my shorty later on. You know what I'm saying? On me and I'm just here to grab some liquor so that we can go hit the spot, or whatever the case, whatever you was about to do to entertain yourself or to bring peace to yourself. We oftentimes allow that violent tendency to come out of us because we don't know how to resolve those little beefs. In sports, getting back to that, that's just called sportsmanship. Or if you remember, you know what I'm saying, you be like a little homie like 7 or 8, you lose a game, why I didn't get the calls? But you crying and stuff. As you get older, you start being more rah-rah. The ref's trying to cheat me. You know what I'm saying? This and that. By the time you get 13, 14, if you keep playing those sports, those young men shake hands. You might go kick it with them afterwards. You know what I'm saying? You might see them around. Hey, bro, good game. It's on me now. I know me and my team got to go get better so that we can come back and put up a better fight next time. We got y'all on life. We got y'all. That's sportsmanship. That's in the streets. That's called conflict resolution. It's the ability to have some kind of pride in yourself enough to be able to back down from a situation without feeling like less of a man. So I think that a lot of those kind of tendencies can be taught. But we sit in schools, children still learning geometry and trigonometry, bro. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I can't name two people on my hand of the students I've been around my entire life that ever used geometry and trigonometry going past that. And this a person with a lot of friends that got MDs, PhDs, master's degrees that grew up in the streets, bro. So that's worthless. It's a lot of time that we spend in these schools that's worthless, where you could be teaching conflict resolution skills. You can be teaching gun safety. You can be teaching people how to deal with the stuff that they're going through and exercising them more and whatnot. So I think that starting with the common sense solutions is first, and then working on the things that may take more money. Because them cheap things, when you talk about more money, you're talking about opening up more job opportunities. In order to have more job opportunities, naturally, we got to have more black businesses, right? We don't have black businesses, right? We still shop at Sun Beauty Supply, Ming Chinese store, Stony Sub, JJ Fitz, places that ain't owned by us, so they don't employ us. And on top of that, they don't teach us nothing. In positive communities, if you had a student that wanted to do business, he go off to college or in high school, he could go to that local laundromat and learn how to run that business, because that's somebody that knows his parents, that's somebody that understands where he come from, known him since he was a shorty. In our hoods, you know that we ain't got that. We may have 1 or 2 of those in the hood, and they just fledgling. We still choosing to go to the other spot, the bigger spot, before we supporting our own. And so then that money don't get circulated in our communities. That taxpayer dollars don't go into our schools, so our schools end up crappy. So that's the financial basis of everything. And then lastly is we got to stop demonizing our young people in the media. And that ain't true. I think that you put a really positive spin to a lot of people that would just be like, hey, he a savage. Or this person was, you know what I'm saying? I can't believe them. I hate these young dudes. These young people need to do X, Y, Z. You were able to humanize them and show them in the light that, hey, man, they went through this. You could see on their Twitter, they was talking about this, or they was just at the spot. Bro was going to college or whatnot before he got, took, because maybe he was lacking, looking down at his phone like maybe we all do, but we got to work on those kind of things, right? And so I think that you shed a positive light on it, but the vast majority of media that you're going to see out here plays us as demons. We criminalize even without any criminality. We guilty by association because we guilty by affiliation, like Snoop said at the beginning of that G-Funk documentary, and you see that with the Ahmad dude, right? So he gets shot, he get lynched, and the only people that they talking about as criminals is his background. They trying to stretch any little thing from it. So I think that all of those things have to be worked on, but the one thing that I see in our leaders and the youth and the young communities is that those who are trying to do some positive, they can't get over their own traumas to understand that you can work on different things simultaneously. So you get people that come to these community groups that's young, as leaders. I think we should stop violence because we got to do this. We got to pull up the pants. Then you got another person that's like, we got to get more jobs. Then you got another person that's like, no, you know what I'm saying? We got to get them out of Chicago. It's too hot for them. And then instead of all of them saying, okay, we can each work on these things individually because they all got to come and go, they end up beefing You know what I'm saying? I don't mess with them over there. They this and that, you know. And so the same kind of gangbanging you see on the block, just with guns, you see that with resources and with time management between us all, and that comes just from us all being traumatized. So if you want to be a leader, you got to get over your own trauma so that you can see the world as it is, not just through your own trauma. You know what I'm saying? And so I think all of them things play their own little part. But just like I, as a doctor, have to focus on the heart, lungs, brain, all of that when you come in. I can't just have the luxury of saying, hey, I'm only looking at the heart right now. I got to make sure you live, and putting living as the main priority. That's the same thing the community got to do. We got to make sure that we live. We got to do this by any means necessary and put our little egos and our own little path behind us. If you went to school and you were having problems in school, the teachers expect to be able to go to your parents to help mitigate the issues, and they can respect the parents and say, okay, well, I need you to do this more at home. Our communities don't have that. And this is not me blaming the community. This is saying aspiring for better for us. We know why, right? Since we got here, we have been systematically destroyed at every institution, healthcare, finances, military, our people that fought in wars. We done built black cities, black businesses. We've had all of the black economy, our own hospital, our own whole sides of the hood. In Chicago, used to be able to go up and down 63rd Street, 87th, 79th, all of them and see nothing but our businesses. And at them times, if something's going on in the hood, the police can low-key go to the community leaders that had juice in the hood, and they'd be like, hey, listen, man, I know that we need you all to handle that, so we don't have to come in here and do that, because then if we do that, that's going to antagonize the issue. That's how it is with them white militia groups down south, right? The police come to them, some of them are cops, and they're able to be like, hey, man, let's get this stuff in order, let's work this out in a peaceful manner. But when you don't have no respect for that community, it's easy for somebody to just be like, you know what, y'all gonna get down or lay down. And ain't nobody gonna stop us from doing this to you all. We got no community policing. And then our guys, who I'm sure cats that grew up and became cops, the reality is that a lot of them wanted to fight justice in their own hood, but they're not allowed to. They have policies that don't allow them to really return. And when they empower, maybe as a beat cop, you can come around and do some little stuff here and there. But once you get to high ranking positions, detectives, crime unit leaders, and stuff like that, you are not allowed back in your community. And they say it's for your own safety. But when you talk to our brothers and sisters offline, they'll tell you really it's because it's racism, and they don't want you to have a power structure outside of that blue. They don't want you to be able to seek protection in your own people, or if something happens and they want to take you out or they want to hang you out to dry, you don't have that base to run to that's going to say, no, that's our cop. He holding it down in this hood. They don't want you getting a citation for all the crime stopping because you got inside knowledge and know you're not snitching or dropping dimes on people. You able to help really improve crime in your hood. And so I think that's number one. The way we can really improve that I've seen is that when I grew up, I had a lot of coaches that was cops, correctional officers, etc. Like they tend to be drawn to sports. And them coaches, correctional officers, they didn't act like other police officers. They wouldn't see us, or even guys that they didn't know personally. They always had a positive disposition towards the young dudes on the street. You see them pull somebody over. Hey, come on, son. Hey, man. Hey, come on, man. You know better than this, bro. You know what I'm saying? Your mama and grandma say, oh, ain't your grandma such and such? Come on, man. Like, hey, why don't you? I see what's going on. Tell me what's really wrong. What's really got you messed up like this? Instead of trying to strong arm you, throwing you in some S-lock or some arm bar that they just learned 2 weeks ago at their local jiu-jitsu class. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're seeing all over Instagram with the community policing, is that these cops, a lot of them start seeing it as other. But to be truthful, they between the ones who do have a good intention are between a rock and a hard place. They between a system of the blue, the police order, who don't really fully accept them. And they come with that blue uniform. So even though they might have good intentions, we not going to accept them. We see them as cops. We see them as ops right off the bat. Like this ain't nothing good finna come in this interaction with me and him. He might look at my girl, like the way she looked, throw me a ticket for something that he might have let her go for. You know what I'm saying? They start using their power for nefarious things, even if it don't make them a dirty cop. You just start looking at them as F-boys, like, come on, bro. Like, why are you showing out like this right now? That's what I see when I see the young dudes come in with violence, and then the cops trying to talk to them, and they try to use a little street lingo. Them dudes, hey, come, you a lame, bro. Get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? And then, so if you that cop, you forced to pick sides. And so we guys, the community, have to start opening up lanes. They got to do better. We got to do better to start saying, hey, man, mandatory coaching if you policing in this community, right? Like you got to be in this community doing something positive, some kind of reform. Teach street law. You can host a street law class right on the corner at the local church or the local barbershop and teach cats how to get custody of their kids, how to talk to police officers, what kind of laws and codes may help them out of that situation. You know, one of the best things a cop ever told me was like, listen, bro, you'll probably never get a real ticket or any trouble if you're not doing nothing crazy. And if the first words out of your mouth to a cop is, I'm sorry, even if you ain't do nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's sad that we have to be like that. But as a man, if you know you got somewhere to be, I got to be at work. Hey, man, I don't know what you're pulling me over for. Listen, man, I'm sorry for it. I got to go. I got places to be. This is my hospital ID, or I'm going to go pick up my baby mom. If it's a speed or something, like, if you're going to give me the ticket, you probably already decided that in your head. Go ahead and do it. But if not, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to break no laws. You see what I'm saying? Like, even them kind of interactions with the cop can be taught. And right now, we don't have that. It's a complete breakdown. And in that, they are able to be used as the weapon of white supremacists, for the people who want to see our communities continue to fail. They're able to do that with these young brothers and sisters because they are struggling to find themselves. And so they become a tool of the enemy. And it's not like a spook enemy. This ain't no tinfoil hat, you know, fake Illuminati kind of stuff. We talk about laws. We can trace all of this stuff right back, generation after generation, even to what we see it. And it's only the people that think it's some spooky or that's some conspiracy. Them the main people that's so shocked and can't accept what just happened to bro down south. They can't accept what just happened to the paramedic who was on the front line, you know, fighting at local hospitals and stuff, who just got shot up, you know, trying to defend her house, you know, from intruders, when it was some cops that served the wrong kind of warrant. Right, like that kind of stuff has happened. Like you said, Emmett Till is an example where because black men have been able to be demonized and you criminal to the point where you a man before you ever able to fully mature out of being a boy, right? Oh, he was whistling at me. No questions asked, lynch him. You know what I'm saying? Now she gets to live her whole life out fully, happily as a white supremacy hero in her town. And then when she older, she get to say, yeah, you know, I kind of lied about that. No punishment, no nothing, no real outcry. Ain't nobody making her serve justice for lynching a young boy, for getting a young boy lynched. The same thing happened in Rosewood. You know, I know that a lot of people may have seen the movie Rosewood with Ving Rhames, but that was a real story about how black businesses was booming so much. It made jealous, poor white folks upset that their businesses wasn't booming. So they went and found an excuse about young men and white women and something about a business. And it don't matter what the story is, the white folks gonna run with it, lynch them. Same thing happened in Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Greenwood, right? They say a young man did something, brushed up against a woman, looked at her wrong. A whole city, you know, we have black millionaires, which would be the equivalent of billionaires today. Whole businesses, whole banks that we could have been getting loans for. A whole city that we could have built on from hundreds. That was more than 100 years ago. Now torn down. That was the first bombing in this country by airplane, where they actually bombed our communities. You know what I'm saying? All started because of a systematic jealousy and a will to really tear us down. So that kind of stuff goes all the way on to today. That animosity goes on today, and we have it as a result. So that gets back to your original question. Our violence is really a reverberation of that same kind of hatred, that same kind of self, you know, degradation that we know we need to really get up out of. But if it's a constant pressure, like you know in physics, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and no object in motion can be stopped from its motion unless another greater force acts upon that. So this snowball is moving. It's got momentum. It's got inertia that's against us. And unless we match that with a greater force, it's never going to stop, bro. That's a law of physics that governs us all around us. And that's why I don't think a lot of people grasp that. They can't step outside of themselves enough to know that this is a radical movement that you have to do to really come up out of that. You really have to shop black. You really have to really focus on educating your children. If you on that narcotics, you got to get off of that so you can help those children with their homework. Else the community going to keep getting worse, and you're going to be, you know, that 30-year-old mama now when your son 18, 19, wondering why his behavior so off, not being able to tie that back to actions that you or the father or the system around them may have really, you know, planted the seeds for a long time ago. My primary objective is you and making sure that you are going to live through this, and then furthermore, you protect it going away. So when you come in there, man, my goal is only really to help you out, to help calm your anxiety out. And so, you know, I understand that a lot of people are struggling with those kind of things, but take small steps, man. And I learned from every interaction. I learned something about what somebody from, what block they from, what they going through, the fears that are going through their heart. Even your hardest criminals, they beg to live. Even your shooters that we know, I know the shooters when they come in, they don't let me die, please, man. Call my mama, call my baby mama. Everybody human in this. So I know a lot of us want to put people on pedestals and all this stuff like that. but we all human, man. And so I want to keep thanking you. I've been struck heavily by a lot of these things that I've seen growing up, that some of us have seen. You know, a turning point in my life was when Newski got killed. You know what I'm saying? Or when funerals get shot up, I'm the one to deal with them. And then it's nice to have an outlet for not only myself, but for the other doctors who ain't from the block, who might care about our communities, that might be Black, Latino, whatever, care about our communities. You become a resource, like I showed you the other day, where I can point to them and be like, hey, man, this is the block that he was just telling you about. This is what this young dude just said that he was from. This is why we have to really protect him, surround him, try to get him some resources, some therapy, maybe just get him out of the streets if it's a game, if it's a green light on him. And so I want to thank you, your viewers, man. I salute all of y'all. The people at the bottom are the ones who mean the most to me because that's where I come from, bro. So it's never looking down, looking at people as others. So anything y'all need, you need, I'm right there at the university. If y'all got friends, family who've been shot, who's still going through it, who might be in danger, come holler at me. If y'all want to learn how to deal with gunshot wounds for your family, if you got guns in your house, you need tourniquets, you need them training courses, just look me up, man. You can Google me. You can go to my Facebook. It's Abdullah Pratt, DullahPratt. My Instagram is Doc Off the Block. Just find me, man, and we'll come out there for free, come to your high school, do whatever it takes to really heal the hood, man.
Hey, we got a real doctor, man, that's out here putting in real work, man. I feel like, hey, that's what we need to be leaning more towards too. If we gon' promote the bullshit, let's promote the positive shit, the real shit, man. There it is, man. It's your boy Sntv. Y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, man. We out.